Coming at you live from my work closet. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm calling this one Teeth or a Bullet. This is a quasi response video and commentary on a news story that's going around now where a man in Florida punched a 12-year-old boy in the mouth and knocked his teeth out. I had left a comment on another channel that ran this story where I said that if those kids surrounded that man, then it's self-defense, in my opinion, because it was more them than him. And of course, the knee-jerk reaction that we're supposed to have is no matter what happens, a man is never supposed to hit a child, right? Even though a lot of us know when we came up, any adult could spank any kid. Didn't matter. They were grown, you weren't, you didn't mind, you got the belt. And if you got punched in the face by a man because you tried to act like a man, everybody looked at you and said, you wanted to be a man, didn't you? And nobody cared. But we live in different times now. So nowadays, the response, and I have to check this within myself a lot of times too, believe it or not, even though when you hear my position, you're going to probably hate my guts. But I still have to check within myself. It's a child. It's a child. I guess once you become a parent and things like that, you get older, you just have that knee-jerk reaction. But this is the thing, see. This is one rare instance where I believe the man, I believe that he was defending himself until proven wrong. I'm open to being proven wrong because I know people like to lie. But this is why. Because I had a similar experience. Okay. Two neighborhoods ago, there was this group of kids that would hang out near my house. If I ever said anything to them about what they were doing, I was met with hostility. These weren't, and it was two groups of kids. It was the teenagers who were actually grown, who, I mean, if I say something to them, I'm technically reprimanding another adult. So if some flack comes, it's still disrespectful, but I mean, they are adults. They're old enough to go join the army. They're grown. And them, I managed to I would just look at them, and after a while, they felt bad, and if they were cutting up, they would stop if they saw me. But these kids that were around the same ages as probably the juveniles in this story, I couldn't say anything to them without getting hostility, or they would just ignore whatever I said. Like the time when they were playing with fire, burning leaves in the fall when it was dry, and they could have burned my house down. They seriously could have burned my house down. The leaves were catching on fire. I told them to stop. They didn't want to do it. They just ignored me. So then I just told them about burn victims in the burn ward, and then they stopped. Okay, so this is the type of children I'm dealing with. Okay, so then one day, right, I took my kids to the park. I'm coming home, right? I'm driving. They are out in the middle of the street. It's got to be about 30 to 40 of them. They're blocking the road so that I can't get out of the park. I could not get out of the park without running someone over. Right? And first instinct was the beep, get out of the road, you kids. I said, you know what? No, I'm not going to do this. I am not going to do this. I'm just going to play it out. And if they see me sitting here, they will eventually move. And it's not like I'm really in a hurry anyway. So, you know what? I'm just going to let kids be kids. And so I'm sitting there for 5 minutes, and then they still haven't moved. They know I didn't say anything. This is what I did. I just, hey, and I laid on the horn for like 20 seconds. And then I pulled my hand up. Now, they all looked at me like they wanted to jump me. If I had gotten out of the car, they would have jumped me. I guarantee if I had gotten out of the car and been like 95% of adult males would have gotten out of the car, and, get out of the road, and start yelling at them. I bet you they'd have jumped me because they were looking at me like they wanted to do something. So they looked at me like they wanted to do something. And I conjured up the most evil stare that I could give them back. And they parted the Red Seas, and I drove through. And then they came back and egged my house that night. And I know it was them by the way they were acting, especially the one that was the ringleader, who I'm going to talk about in a minute. The way he was looking, yeah, I showed him, right? Like, okay. So if you don't know me, the worst thing I can do to you is to not say anything to you. That's the worst thing I can do to you. Because that means if I know you're about to make a terrible mistake, and I wish I could have this foresight in my own life, but sometimes it's a gifting. That's the only thing I could say. Sometimes I can tell when somebody's really getting ready to do something that's just colossally awful, and I can say something to them, and I can just get them to pause, and then they won't do it. And it's not like I'm mean about it, but I was just like, forget him. Okay, forget him. Now, other kids, I would say something to. Like, this is also the same group of kids I saw on the roof at the local. It wasn't a community center. It was kind of like a community hut, but it's not a hut. A community building in the neighborhood. They're peeling off the tarps of the roof and throwing it down. And I just say, look, you guys, you shouldn't do that. You know, I want you guys getting locked up when the cops come around here. Right? Yeah. One of them there, right? And two, I think it was four of them, but it was from the same group. Like, two was like, dang. They got off the roof. Ringleader, and he had a dummy with him. And guess what happened? Now, I don't think the cops didn't take him anything. When I saw blue, I was like, you know what? I told him I'm out. Now, the kid who was the ringleader of all the nonsense ended up getting shot. Now, I wasn't there when he got shot. So, this is what I've heard. I heard that he was the one that got shot outside of my house. Wasn't by me. By some of the local thugs. Right? Grown men. Local thugs. I heard he was the one that got shot. Now, he's got shot, but he's alive. And it seems to me he survived because of his youth. He could have died. Apparently, he took that rebellion that never got checked to the wrong people. And they ain't have any mercy on him. So that's why I named this. Would you rather have a kid get their teeth knocked out, or would you rather have them get shot? Because I was thinking, you know, maybe the first thing I thought is maybe I should have been harder on that kid. I should have done something to get me borderline, possibly charges, or at least warned by the cops or something. And that boy wouldn't have got shot. I was like, if that's him that got shot, maybe I should have did something. I should have did more. But you know, you can't. I'm not his father. You can't do but so much. Okay? And now to segue it into the main theme of my channel, you know, sometimes people bring those type of children into martial arts classes saying, oh, please help this child. This child is going wayward. Now, I really think, I wish I'd had a black belt back then, because I really think if I was kids, I could have gotten them to act right. Because anything else, literally giving some kids just something to do or something else to think about breaks the patterns of behavior that they have to be pulled into foolishness. Okay? It can break it. But I'm not going to put too many people's business out there because it's more than just one. Some people still take martial arts classes and then it just makes them better at doing stuff they're not supposed to, because not only that, they fight now too. But, you know, one person I know of who like had training and then got like they were pulling him to the dark side, but he still ultimately got pulled out of the dark side from the values of the training. I got one confirmed case of that. I suspected there are others. Well, two, if I count myself, because people were trying to pull me. I never like, ran the streets and stuff, but they kept pulling me to get into fights. And a combination of what I call positive peer pressure, because I had some positive peers, the church, and basically too, your martial arts instructor telling you that's not acceptable, we don't do that. You are whatever style, your taekwondo, your tang sudo, that's not right. No, you keep doing it, you can't train with me. That type of stuff, you know, filters in, and eventually you hope that the student will make the right decision and just come out of the dark and into the light. Into the light. The light. Pun. Anyway. But you can't help everybody. I mean, there's even, what was that guy? It was on lockup. This was like I think it was a tall, like redhead white kid who was actually an instructor. He still ended up in lockup. But he felt bad. He felt really, really horrible because he knew better. And he was like, they trained me to do better and I still did wrong. So even though he did a jail term, he was not as hard of heart as probably anybody else who didn't have that influence. Okay. So I say all that to say this. Again, going back to the title of this thing, and shout out to the person watching this. Would you rather them they get their teeth knocked out or, because see, I bet you, this is assuming that the man is not lying. I'm inclined not to think behavior I've seen of kids, and that sounds like something that kids would do. I'm inclined to think that the man's telling the truth, and if he is telling the truth and he punched that boy in the face, that might make that boy stop. That, you know what? Some people are so out of control, and plus because the society just jumps on men. Not like when I was coming up. Somebody be like, "What'd you say to get your teeth knocked out?" They're so quick to jump on men. This may be the first time that somebody's checked that boy. And see, I wish he'd learned this before. When you get to be about 12, 13, 14, and you're a male, you're too big to mouthing off at people like you did when you were 11 and 10. You're going through puberty, you can hurt somebody. And another thing too, when some states that have castle doctrine, now I'm not an attorney, but if they came in his yard, he can defend. If they came in his yard, if they came toward him, he can defend himself. They can't. No, come on. If they came towards him, he can defend himself. So, call me a traitor to my. I don't even know, because I don't even think the boy that got hit was black. But whatever. I'm supposed to be against. According to the internet illogic, I'm supposed to be against the guy that punched the kid in the face. I guess on the sake of protecting children. I don't necessarily know if it's because of race too. It could be, but I'm sorry. My experiences with hard-headed juveniles that aren't my children versus hard-headed juveniles that have been my children, but is that they will act like, you can't tell me nothing. And a lot of people I think a lot of people won't even bother to say anything. Thank you for the same well said, Grandmaster Nick Fury. Thank you. A lot of people just don't care. Or they may start like I did, invest some caring, and then just get frustrated and stop. But we need to let the kids know that A lot of people, they will knock your teeth out. And then a lot of people will shoot you or stab you. See, if they came in his yard and he had a gun on him, he could have shot them. And depending on what state he's in, he could get away with it. My thing is, why they, you know what? Now, this is really going to make me sound like some type of traitor or something. And I would be mad if somebody had said this to me when I was a kid, too. But this is true. I don't care if he did use a racial slur. I'm sorry. Unless he walked to them and started screaming racial slurs in their face and antagonizing them and pushing them, and he was assaulting them, unless he made an aggressive movement towards one of them first, I don't care if he did say a racial slur. He didn't put his hands on you. He did not put his hands on you. He didn't spit on you. And it sounds like he didn't make any aggressive moves. It sounds like he came out the house. He told them to get out from in front of his house, get out of the road. They didn't like it. They came in the yard and tried to intimidate him. They got close enough to get hit. Now think about this too. Those of us who are familiar with hand-to-hand combat, I can't punch you if you are not close enough for me to punch, unless I do a lunge punch. Did he do a lunge punch? If it comes out he's got a background in, I can't even say Taekwondo per se. Well, no, in the ITF they taught lunge punch. So unless he's got a back though, or some type of karate where they teach the lunge punch or jump punch, where you can hit someone that's a little out. You can't hit somebody that's like from where this camera is way back. You can't hit somebody. But boy was clenched. Means that boy may have been up to something, but the man struck first because they were around him. It was a group of them against him. So I want to see how it plays out. And I want us to ask ourselves, would you prefer that any wayward child relative of yours or neighbor gets punched in the mouth and loses a couple of teeth, or shot and loses their life? And the person I'm talking about, they got shot, if it was indeed their kid, it's hearsay as far from what I got. He was shot by a machine gun. I thought I was dreaming when I heard the machine gun. So I'm like, I'm still having those Marine Corps dreams, man. Like I'm still at the rifle range or something. And I woke up and told my wife, it was like, oh man, I'm still dreaming about Paris Island or something. And then police. No, it ain't the police. I look, it's the police. And it looks like I guess you slept through it, blah, blah. There's the bullets in the outline, all that. So let's ask ourselves, is it better for him to get punched in the mouth or to get shot? You know what? Do me a favor. In addition to liking, commenting, and subscribing, leave your opinions below. And if you have any updated information about this, where like you either know that the man was lying because it's come out, or you know that they concluded that, yeah, it was a juvenile's fault, please leave your comments below.